This incident took place in Sydney, Australia on July 30th, 2011. A man named Josh Rathmall was walking through Hyde Park in central Sydney when he happened to glance up at one of the many high-rise buildings surrounding the area. There, he saw someone throw a bag from the balcony of an apartment building. As he continued to observe, a crowd began to gather below. Later, Josh would learn that a woman named Lisa Cecilia Harnum had fallen from that same residential building. It was at that moment that he realized he had just witnessed a murder. Lisa Cecilia Harnum was a 30-year-old Canadian living in Sydney. She was born and raised in Toronto and was brought up by her mother, with whom she had a close relationship. Lisa also had a brother named Jason. Those who knew her described her as an outgoing and cheerful person. As a child, she was passionate about dance, particularly ballet. She continued practicing into her teenage years, but it eventually led to struggles with her mental health. Ballet is known for its association with body image issues, and at some point during her adolescence, Lisa became highly critical of her appearance, which resulted in an eating disorder. Her mother, deeply concerned, sought professional help for her. Lisa was diagnosed with an eating disorder, but her condition worsened to the point where she nearly lost her life. Unfortunately, she battled this disorder until the end of her days. By 2004, at the age of 23, Lisa decided to leave her home country and travel. She had made up her mind to settle in Australia. She applied for a work visa, purchased a ticket, and set off for her new life. Initially, she lived in Melbourne before eventually relocating to Sydney. There, she enrolled in a hairdressing course while working part-time to support herself. Things seemed to be going well for Lisa. She was happy, earning a decent income, and enjoying the Sydney lifestyle. She also managed to maintain a strong connection with her family back in Canada, frequently calling her mother and exchanging text messages. However, in January 2010, everything started to change when she met a man named Simon Gittany. Simon was a 38-year-old businessman living in Sydney. He portrayed himself as a successful professional, but Lisa had no idea that he had a history of violence. As a teenager, Simon had been involved in several minor crimes, and in 1993, he was first imprisoned after being caught with stolen property. When officers arrived at his home to arrest him, he reacted aggressively, attacking them and even biting off a part of one officer's ear. As a result, Simon was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. However, his time behind bars did not reform him. By 2000, he was arrested again for drug-related charges. He was found guilty and sentenced to 6 years in prison. After his release, it seemed like he was turning his life around. He and a friend started an online shoe business, which became profitable. By 2010, Simon was looking for a roommate to fill a vacant room in his apartment. Around the same time, Lisa was searching for a new place to live. A mutual friend named George introduced them. Later, during legal proceedings, Simon would claim that Lisa had been George's lover. After about 2 months of living together, Lisa and Simon developed a romantic relationship. In the beginning, things seemed perfect. They got along well and everything appeared to be going smoothly. However, the honeymoon phase didn't last long. Soon, clear signs of Simon's controlling and abusive behavior began to emerge. Their relationship became increasingly difficult, and within a few months, Simon started asserting control over all aspects of Lisa's life. For instance, from July 2009 to May 2010, Lisa worked as a hairdresser at a salon called Cra. However, according to her mother, Simon wanted to isolate Lisa and make her financially dependent on him. He convinced her to quit her job, telling her that the people she worked with were beneath her and that she needed to associate with a more elite crowd. He repeatedly pressured her to resign, and in May 2010, Lisa finally did. By June 2010, she began to sense that something was wrong with Simon. She called her mother, revealing that their relationship was becoming troubled. Simon insisted that she seek therapy immediately. She saw a therapist who was also a chiropractor, treating her for both neck pain and stress-related anxiety. This therapist helped Lisa re-establish a healthy routine, including eating and sleeping properly. In September 2010, the couple decided to move into a luxurious apartment complex called The Hyde. The apartment had stunning views of Hyde Park, and they settled into a unit on the 5th floor. Lisa's mother recalled that Lisa had considered moving back to Melbourne, where she had friends and felt comfortable, but ultimately she chose to give her relationship with Simon another chance and moved into the new apartment with him. However, the arguments continued and grew more intense. By mid-September 2010, Lisa's mother sent her a text asking if everything was okay. Lisa replied, "Everything is as usual, walking on a time bomb waiting for it to explode. I miss my friends and family so much. I have no life. I feel trapped, like I have to monitor everything I say, do, and feel. Yesterday, I got in trouble just for saying I was cold." At the same time, Lisa also sent messages saying that she was happy and content with Simon. This suggests that their relationship was filled with extreme emotional ups and downs. Their dynamic resembled an emotional roller coaster. One moment, Simon was threatening to kick Lisa out, and the next, Lisa was threatening to leave. However, neither followed through. By December 2010, Simon installed surveillance cameras inside their apartment. It is believed that he did this to spy on Lisa, though he assured her it was only for security purposes. He placed 2 cameras inside the apartment and 1 outside. Lisa was fully aware of their presence. Toward the end of 2010, Lisa's mother received some concerning messages from her. Lisa stated that she would no longer wear dresses because Simon had instructed her to only wear pants and modest clothing. She also mentioned that she no longer went to nightclubs or bars because Simon became anxious when other men noticed her. Given Lisa's attractiveness, this happened often. In one message, she wrote, "It's time for me to grow up and wear big girl pants. This relationship has really changed me. I've become much calmer, more reserved, and elegant. I've bought a lot of casual shoes, no more heels, and no more low-cut tops. Simon is terrified of summer and the beach. He said we'd have to find a burqa swimsuit for me." Simon wanted Lisa's full attention and later admitted that he was extremely jealous. Lisa dreamed of permanently settling in Australia and was working toward obtaining residency. Simon was aware of this and often used it against her, threatening that he had connections who could revoke her visa and destroy her dream. These threats genuinely frightened her. In December 2010, Lisa returned home to Canada for Christmas. Her mother immediately noticed drastic changes, particularly in her appearance. Lisa wore only dark, plain clothing, tied her hair back, wore no makeup, and covered as much of her body as possible. While in Toronto, she avoided seeing her friends, fearing that Simon would accuse her of drinking. If she didn't respond to his messages quickly enough, Simon would call Lisa's mother, demanding to know her whereabouts and even asking for confirmation of her outfit to ensure it met his standards. Soon it was time for Lisa to return to Australia. Before she left, her mother urged her to stay in Canada, believing it would be for the best. Lisa was certain that she wanted to build her life in Australia. She was determined to return and make her dream a reality. Simon warned her that if she didn't come back immediately, he would contact his friends and have her visa revoked. Lisa believed she had no choice but to return. What she didn't realize was that Simon had no such power. He had no connections and was merely lying to manipulate her. On January 24, 2011, Lisa arrived back in Sydney. Shortly after, she scheduled a session with a psychologist. Following their session, the psychologist took notes which were later presented in court. Lisa described feeling like she was losing herself. Simon took away her keys, forbade her from going to stores, and even dictated what she could wear. No heels allowed. Whenever she defended herself against his constant criticism, he would grow frustrated, demanding obedience. He used words like evil and poisonous to describe her. causing Lisa to doubt herself. She never returned to therapy after that session. Throughout their relationship, Lisa repeatedly mentioned to Simon that she had a secret, something she wanted to tell him but was too ashamed to share. When Simon began pressuring her to reveal it, Lisa refused. Unsatisfied with her reluctance, in February 2011, Simon secretly installed spyware on Lisa's phone. The software allowed him to access her messages and calls. One day, he read a message from Lisa's friend that said, "Follow your heart." This sent Simon into a paranoid spiral. He immediately contacted the friend who had been offering Lisa emotional support through messages to her mother, expressing how lonely and unappreciated she felt. Simon frequently threatened to kick Lisa out of the house over trivial matters, such as letting her hair down. In one message, he berated her, writing, "Who do you think you are? You walk around like you own this place, coming and going without asking permission. You strut like a peacock, hair loose, too proud to apologize." Despite the turmoil, their relationship continued. On June 12, 2011, Lisa turned 30. Simon threw a surprise birthday party with his family in attendance. During the celebration, he got down on one knee and proposed. Lisa appeared ecstatic, immediately texting her mother about the proposal. However, her message carried an unsettling note. She thanked her mother for the gifts and then revealed that Simon had promised to visit Canada with her, but only if she lost enough weight to reach 50 kilograms and maintained it for 2 weeks. She was only 3 kilograms away from the target. Even after their engagement, their fights escalated. By June, Lisa was at her breaking point, making plans to move to Melbourne. She confided in a friend who lived there, but Simon, monitoring her messages, discovered their conversations. He confronted the friend, demanding that they persuade Lisa to stay. However, the friend refused to betray Lisa. Once again, Lisa forgave Simon and decided to give their relationship another chance, choosing to work through their problems instead of leaving for Melbourne. But Simon's control only intensified. He forbade her from going to the gym, instead hiring a personal trainer who came to their home, a woman, of course, since Simon despised other men looking at Lisa. When speaking to Simon, she was required to maintain direct eye contact at all times. If she looked away, he accused her of checking out other men. Lisa needed his permission for everything, from leaving the house to making the simplest decisions. Lisa had 2 personal trainers who came at different times. One day, she confided in one of them, mentioning that Simon somehow knew everything she texted her mother. She couldn't figure out how. She was unaware of the spyware installed on her phone. On July 28, 2011, one of Lisa's trainers arrived for their session and immediately noticed how nervous she seemed. She kept glancing around anxiously, as if making sure no one was watching. Lisa told the trainer she wanted to leave and that she was miserable. The trainer assured her that if she ever needed help, she would assist her in escaping. Later, Lisa texted the trainer, but Simon saw everything. He confronted Lisa, claiming that her trainer had betrayed her and was setting her up. In reality, the trainer was innocent. Lisa was furious. Believing she had been betrayed, she messaged the trainers saying, "Please never contact me again. I don't want to hear from you. You've ruined my life. I had everything with Simon, but you brainwashed me and now I have nothing. I want my money back because you destroyed my life, and now I'm broke and desperate." The next day, on July 29th, Lisa sent her mother a desperate message. "Mom, please come get me." They spoke on the phone while Lisa searched for a one-way ticket to Canada. Her mother urged her, "Grab your bag, take your passport, and leave as soon as possible." During their conversation, Lisa expressed her love for her mother and brother, Jason. She also said that if anything happened to her, they should contact her trainer. By July 30th, 2011, Lisa discovered the spyware and changed her password to the word trust. This likely enraged Simon. That day he demanded to see her flight booking. According to Simon, Lisa grabbed her bag and ran for the door. She managed to escape the apartment, pounding on neighbors' doors for help. Surveillance footage captured what happened next. Simon caught up to her, dragged her back inside, and covered her mouth to muffle her screams. A neighbor heard the commotion, including Lisa's frantic cries. "Please help me! Oh God, help me!" But when the cries stopped, the neighbor simply locked her door. What happened inside the apartment remains unclear. Simon's account of events differs greatly from the official investigation. According to police, once Simon got Lisa inside, he somehow rendered her unconscious, carried her to the balcony, and threw her over the edge. She fell from the 15th floor of the apartment they shared and died upon impact. Coincidentally, a doctor was driving by at the time. He stopped and found Lisa lying on her side, her spine and one leg clearly broken. Her ribs had been shattered on both sides, and her vertebrae had been displaced. Lisa had no pulse. Surveillance footage later showed Simon exiting the building, rushing toward Lisa's lifeless body. A crowd gathered and emergency services were called. Simon was taken to the police station, but was not immediately charged. He told officers about the surveillance cameras in the building and urged them to review the footage. When questioned, Simon claimed that he and Lisa had argued, and she had run out of the apartment with her black handbag. He said he stopped her and pulled her back inside. According to him, he then made her a cup of tea. Standing in the kitchen, he saw Lisa heading toward the balcony and was stunned when she climbed over the railing. He claimed he ran to stop her, but she slipped and fell. Simon showed the officers his surveillance system but failed to mention one key detail. The cameras were connected to a hard drive, which he hid from the police. Investigators began searching the apartment for evidence to verify his story. They found something suspicious. There were no fingerprints from Lisa on the balcony railing, which contradicted Simon's claim that she had climbed over it voluntarily. As the investigation progressed, Simon returned to his family home in Maryland. Later, his sister recounted how disturbed he seemed that night, repeatedly questioning himself about what he had done. Meanwhile, Lisa's body was taken for an autopsy, which revealed severe injuries. However, there were no signs of physical assault before she hit the ground. But in Lisa's pocket, the police found something very strange, a torn piece of paper. When pieced together, it read, outside the house, there is a surveillance camera. August 29th, Simon sent Lisa's mother a text message. My dear John, I regret this tragic accident. There was nothing I could do to save her. I wanted to call you right away, but the police didn't allow me. I loved your daughter very much, and as you know, we were planning to get married next year. I'm so sorry. I know you must hate me right now, and I understand. Soon the police discovered that the surveillance cameras were connected to a hard drive. They obtained a search warrant and went to Simon's apartment to retrieve it, but it was missing. Later, the hard drive was found, yet it contained no footage. Eyewitnesses were also questioned. 3 people in total had seen Lisa fall from the balcony. But one witness noticed something particularly crucial. His name was Josh Rathmall. Josh was the person I mentioned at the beginning of the video. He was walking through Hyde Park on his way to work when he suddenly heard a piercing scream. Looking up at a nearby residential building, he saw a man holding what looked like a large duffel bag. Josh described the black object as being long and heavy, then he saw the man release it over the edge. Josh couldn't see where the object landed because his view was blocked by trees. At that moment, he didn't realize that what he had just witnessed was a body falling. His attention remained on the man standing on the 15th floor balcony. Josh continued walking, but as he neared the building, he noticed a crowd forming below. He overheard people whispering, "It's a body." Only then did he understand. The man hadn't thrown an object, he had thrown a person. Struggling to process what he had seen, Josh continued on his way to work. but he knew he had to report it. He called the police 3 times trying to give his statement, but no one followed up with him, so he went to the station himself and gave his testimony in person. Ultimately, thanks to his statement and the absence of Lisa's fingerprints on the balcony railing, Simon was charged with her murder. On August 3, 2011, he was arrested. He remained in custody from August 4, 2011 until January 20, 2012. However, in January, he was released on bail. Simon maintained his innocence. While out on bail, he started a new relationship with a woman named Rachel Louise, which drew media attention. Eventually, his bail was revoked, and in 2013, the trial began. Rachel attended every hearing, supporting Simon. She was so devoted that she gave him $85,000 from her savings and borrowed another $35,000 from friends. Then, she even convinced her parents to contribute tens of thousands of dollars toward his legal expenses. Simon's defense argued that Lisa had been suffering from depression and delusions, claiming that her mental instability led to her fatal fall. He provided examples from her past. According to Simon, as well as some of Lisa's friends and family, she had acted impulsively before. One incident occurred when Lisa and Simon were arguing in a car. Lisa, sitting in the passenger seat while Simon was driving, suddenly opened the door and tried to jump out at full speed. Simon's friend, who was also in the car at the time, confirmed this story. Simon's sister also came forward with a statement. She recalled witnessing Lisa suddenly open a car door, jump out with her bag, scream for help, and run down the street. Concerned, Simon's sister called Lisa's phone to ask if she was okay. Lisa responded, "Yes, I just bought myself a hot chocolate." When pressed again about whether she was hurt, Lisa replied, "No, I'm fine. I just do stupid things sometimes." Simon's defense also argued that he was too short to physically lift Lisa and throw her off the balcony. Simon was about 170 centimeters tall, while the balcony railing stood at 130 centimeters. They claimed he simply didn't have the strength to hoist her over the edge. Instead, they suggested Lisa had stepped onto the balcony intending to scare Simon, but accidentally slipped and fell. The prosecution, however, emphasized 2 key points: the testimony of Josh, who saw a man push Lisa over the edge, and the fact that Lisa's fingerprints were not found on the balcony railing. If she had climbed over voluntarily, her prints would have been there. Before announcing the verdict, the judge addressed the courtroom. Lisa tried to leave the defendant on the morning of her death. He stopped her and showed extreme aggression. I have no doubt that he was in a fit of rage and lost control. According to his own statement, he forced her back into the apartment, sat her down, made a few remarks, and then went to prepare a hot drink. The claim that he could have regained his composure so quickly after a struggle at the door is inherently implausible, and I reject it. I do not accept his version that Lisa climbed over the balcony on her own. I have no reason to doubt the accuracy and reliability of witness Josh Rathmall's testimony, who was in the park at the time of the incident. While I cannot say with certainty what happened inside the apartment in the minutes following their struggle, I believe Lisa lost consciousness at some point. Considering all the evidence, I am convinced that the defendant remained in a state of rage, dragged her onto the balcony and threw her off. I find him guilty of the murder of Lisa Cecilia. As soon as the verdict was announced, Simon's new girlfriend, Rachel, screamed and fainted. Moments later, she left the courtroom to smoke a cigarette. "Does anyone have a lighter?" she asked. She was immediately surrounded by reporters, but she ignored all questions about Simon and the case. Lisa's family had flown in from Canada to hear the verdict they had long awaited. "We will always mourn the loss of our beautiful Lisa," they said. "We hope her story serves as a powerful warning to young women and their loved ones to recognize the warning signs of an unhealthy relationship." Simon Gitto was sentenced to a minimum of 18 years with a maximum of 26 years. Rachel continued to insist on Simon's innocence, and even after they eventually broke up, likely due to the difficulty of maintaining a relationship while he was in prison, reports suggested that she still visited him. After his sentencing, Simon attempted to appeal his conviction, but his request was denied. Following the conclusion of the case, Simon's family and some of his friends launched a campaign to prove his innocence. They even created a dedicated website, which remains active to this day. In Lisa's memory, her family and friends established the Lisa Cecilia Foundation, an organization dedicated to helping victims of domestic abuse. Lisa's case was a tragedy. She had been so close to escaping the toxic relationship that trapped her. Her story serves as a dark reminder of the horrors of domestic violence. Please like and subscribe. It's important. And don't forget to check out another video on your screen. See you soon.